Hi folks, Rick Wedell here. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at RFG Advisory in Birmingham, and I thought I'd reach out with a brief market update. Today is Monday, March 30th, and I want to let you know a little bit about what happened news-wise over the weekend, as well as what's going on in the markets today. And so the market, it's up about 2% right now, to about 2,600 on the S&P. That's a little bit north of that 2,500 band that we've talked about previously. And what's going on is the market's struggling a little bit with direction as it thinks about both the stimulus that was passed last week and how quickly that gets into the economy. Some negative news on the virus front here in the United States, as well as some positive news on the virus front over in Europe. So I'm a positive guy. I like to start with the positives, so we'll start over in Europe. It appears that the rate of new infections for all of the E5 countries, including Italy, has sort of flattened off. Which is great news. It looks like after about 3 weeks of quarantine in Italy, that quarantine is actually starting to take effect, and most of the models now predict that Europe's caseload will actually start to decline here over the next couple of days, which is great news. It shows that the quarantine measures can be effective. That's not true in the UK. The UK was a little bit late to the party, but it is true for the rest of the continent, which is obviously very, very good news. Here at home domestically, our case numbers continued to rise over the weekend, and the rate of infection continued to rise over the weekend. And I think most experts predict that it will continue to rise for another 7 to 14 days as the effects of our own quarantine measures go into effect. And I think you saw that, and basically an admission of that from the administration over the weekend, basically pushing back that date at which they recommend that we stop social distancing. Back to April, the end of April. And we'll see whether or not that date holds or not. It's possible it could stretch on for another week or two. But the good news is that at least, if there is a silver lining to anything, at least it is evident that the quarantine effects that have been going on over in Western Europe are taking effect, and hopefully that'll have a similar impact on our own caseloads. In terms of the economic fallout from the virus, it should be clear that is just beginning. And one of the reasons why the market is going to be skittish for an extended period of time is that we really just don't know in terms of the overall number of people who will get laid off, in terms of the overall percentage drop in consumer spending, everything else like that. It's something that we're really just going to start to see the data on, and the data will just progress on over the next couple of weeks. And I think that that's something that's important to keep in mind as you think about the markets. You're going to have good days when silver linings appear and caseloads peak off, and you're going to have unintended consequences of the economic fallout that's going on right now in terms of companies filing for bankruptcy or being unable to pay rent, and that cash flow shortage or stoppage flowing through the system. And so it's just important to note that similar to the great financial crisis back in 2008, sometimes it takes months for those either positives or negatives to show up in the marketplace. And you should just be prepared for that because it will continue to impact volatility on the trading side. In the meantime, on a more personal note, I've been encouraged to see all of the different work from home and social distancing, quirks that are popping up in various neighborhoods, be it Formal Monday, be it, in my neighborhood, the kids are putting up different artworks and pictures in the windows of their homes so that people walking through the neighborhoods can look at something like a little art gallery. And I encourage you, if you haven't, to just sort of get out there, and walk around a little bit. It's always good to get a little fresh air and hopefully sunshine wherever you might be. Also encourage you to maybe participate a little bit. In fact, there are a couple of houses in my neighborhood that have even put up their Christmas decorations so that people who either drive or walk by get to enjoy them. With that, if you have any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out to either myself or your advisor. We are here and up and running. I hope you have a wonderful Monday, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.